It's good to be back in South Africa. This is kind of my homeland, I guess. Half of me is from South Africa originally. My great-grandfather came to South Africa from Lithuania in the late 1800s to escape the pogroms, as we are Jewish. And I've been visiting South Africa now at Christmas because I don't celebrate Christmas, and it's hot in South Africa in December. So my family and I would come to the beach. We visit, my family mostly live in Joburg. Some of you may have eaten my cousin's ice cream. His name is Paul. Yes? So I branded Paul's company a few years ago, and we've been working together ever since. My uncle Roger Ballon is a very famous photographer, but it's great to be a part of the commerce and the arts in this country. And a lot of my other cousins are teachers, scholars, and they're all very much here in South Africa, even though my father came back to London when he was in his 20s, and so on and so forth. So how's everyone's 2017 been so far? Well, I was hoping that people would be a bit more positive, because I've had a pretty shit year. On the 3rd of January, I was walking my dogs. I have two, so 2 dogs, but in one hand. And there was a bit of ice on the street, and I slipped, and I fell, and I landed my entire body weight on all of my fingers and my hand. And I broke my hand quite badly. The 4th metacarpal, which is actually a rare fracture. It's called a boxer's fracture. So this was a kind of rude awakening to 2017, especially because I found out also that in Japan, then you have a year of your life, or certain years in your life that are bad luck years. And I was visiting Japan recently, and I was having dinner with a friend, and she looked my year up in the calendar, and apparently this is a bad year for me. But I'm having a great time here so far. So this is me 3 days post-op, stoned as fuck, trying to draw on my tablet with a huge cast on my hand. So if you see me walking around and doing sort of like weird shadow puppets or anything like that, if I've been sitting next to you in the crowd, it's because I'm doing my physiotherapy, which I have to do every hour. And yeah, it's very difficult and obviously very scary, because a huge proportion of the things that I do are with my hands, not just gesticulating while I'm talking, but drawing and using a computer and so on and so forth. So today I'm going to talk to you about binaries and opposites and the middle, which is why I came out of here. Because I very much have lived my life in the middle of many areas. And it's really weird, because there's actually a 1 and a 0 drawn on the stage right here. You can't see it, but that's nice. I can stand in the middle. So I very much live my life in this sort of rainbow spectrum, which is why I've got a rainbow here. And I'm going to talk to you about living life in the middle. So I grew up with my South African father and my American mother. And they were very, very good role models, because they embodied so many variables, so many opposites and similarities. And I had really, really positive role models, especially gender role models. My dad is very emotional, affectionate. He let me do his hair, and I used to have like a hair salon, and he'd sit and I would clip things into his hair. But he was also a very, very astute business person, and also one of the most generous people I've ever met in my life. My mother is a teacher, very bolshy, feminist, and is very strong-minded and confident. And really, they were a perfect pair, even though they seem not to be so perfect in the fact that they broke up. But in terms of raising children, they did a pretty good job with me and my brothers. So this is a very seminal moment for me. This is 1994. I'm 30 now, so it was a while ago. And this is me sitting in the car park, waiting to get on the coach to go to Jewish summer camp for 2 weeks. And I think this is probably the most important moment in my whole life. when I was sent off for Jewish summer camp at 7 years old and left to fend for myself. And the whole camp was run by teenagers, basically. So as you can imagine, it was Lord of the Flies. But really fucking great and really fun and just so amazing to be put somewhere and not have your school or your parents or anything or anyone that knew you in your life and be able to go there and become anybody that you wanted to be. And this is really kind of something that I have and want to share with you today, is this feeling. I would go to the toilet and I'd sit there and I would look at my hands and I'd feel this incredible feeling that I could do anything and that I was in control of my body, and that anything I wanted to do, like go and play with my doll's house or write a letter to Mickey Mouse or anything that I wanted to do, I could achieve. And although I can't feel that feeling anymore when I go for a wee, I still feel that feeling in my life, just very quietly in the back of my mind. So this is a feeling I want you to try and reconnect with if you had it in your past, or connect with for your future. So you can do or be anything. So as this sort of little sprog, I kind of felt like I was kind of just me. I didn't feel like I was a boy. I didn't feel particularly like I was a girl either. I just was Kate. And luckily I grew up in a world and in an environment where just being me was fine, and I could show a picture of Demi Moore in a movie to my hairdresser and get my hair cut like that. Or I could, just wear whatever I wanted to wear. Even though my mum was desperate for me to wear dresses, she didn't actually fully force me to do so. So this is what I have now after 2 years of kind of meeting more aware people and like learning more about gender and sexuality and the world and all of these huge feelings and sort of emotions going through me. I learned that there's a name for this, which is called non-binary. So it's kind of a clinical word, but it really is a great definition of how we can be and how we can experiment with our gender, our careers, the way we are as people, our humanity. So I just want to show you some examples of other ways that you can practice rebellion, from polarities, how you can practice fluidity, how you can practice new ways of being you. So I started my career drawing pictures at the age of about 19. I started just drawing things. And then, as any of you might know, once you do something once, you get asked to do it again. So I did this for a while, and I made some money. And I met lots of great people and went to shows and gigs and worked with artists and promoters and just really quite fantastic, met a fantastic community that was coming out of the independent music scene in the UK. And it was MySpace, and Facebook wasn't really there yet. But, all about interconnectivity, and really the digital world and the physical world still coexisted in the sense that you would talk about something online and then you would actually do it, or you would actually be it, or you would actually see those humans. So I did that for a while, and I made some money. I got asked to do a campaign for Cadbury's when I was in second year at university, and I got paid. I like to talk about things quite transparently, so I'm going to tell you how much I got paid. So I got paid about £30,000, which I don't know what that is in rands. It's a lot of rands. So this was the job. And I don't know how much tax you have to pay in South Africa on your income. But in the UK, you have to pay a sum. And I don't dodge taxes. I am very, very, very good citizen. I pay my taxes on time, every time. But I wanted to reinvest this money. So I started a record label. And I started sort of creating vinyl and manufacturing them myself, sort of paying myself to be a graphic designer, because I was only really being asked to do illustration. So yeah, I had this struggle in between being an illustrator and wanting to be a graphic designer. I studied graphic design, so I made some records. This was for a band called Cutting Pink with Knives, and they don't even make 500 record sleeves, 200 record sleeves. I had to get 500 and recycle 300 of them. And I met artists and bands and collaborated with them, and I had a great experience. And then I eventually met a band called Hearts Revolution, who are a couple, and I went on tour with them for my third year at university. This is what I got up to at university. I went on the road, I did visuals, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just took photographs and stuck them together quickly, basically GIFs for days. And I went to South by Southwest, I went on tour, and it was really fun and exciting. But off the back of that, I was because I was making records, people were asking me to design records again, which is kind of like I achieved what I wanted to achieve. It was a very expensive process, but I got to kind of design records, and then I started doing art direction. And it was Simeo Mobile Disco, this is the reverse of one of their 12 inches that I designed, who I got a taste for art direction because I commissioned a photographer, Jane Stockdale, to take this photograph, and I just really enjoyed the process. And I wanted to do more. And I worked with Simeon for a few years in developing videos and just experimenting, really, but in public, which you'll find, I'm sure, most artists and designers here really don't get to hide your process. You have to just make it work. But I was really lonely. I was just by myself, pretty much, in a studio. And I realized that being alone is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with people. So in 2012, I started Studio Moross. It was very simple. Everyone always asks me, how do you start a business? You get a business card and you buy a domain. It's really the only thing you need to do, and you can catch up with the legality and the accountant and all of that stuff later. So Studio Moross was a whole new experience for me because I get to work with other really talented people in all disciplines, and I get to learn more and experiment more. These are some projects that we did kind of as we started the studio. So this is a record sleeve for Tala, and we fused her sort of Arabic and British heritage together to create this sort of very ornate record sleeve. But we also started to make music videos, and I started really enjoying filmmaking. And it was just amazing to see Marina's film yesterday, because it's a new type of filmmaking, like a visual filmmaking. We are so fixated on narrative, and in music videos, sometimes people don't just sit and let the visual take the music. So I'm just going to play you very short clips of videos just because I'm aware of time. And this is for Tala. She wanted to go to Morocco, so we did. I think we spent about £7,000 on this video, which is quite a small budget for a music video, but I'll just play it to you. Then I also started experimenting more with animation. So this is another visual performance video for a band called Wild Beasts, who are a fantastic group of musicians. And I'll just play you again a minute or two of this video.
All we want is to feel that feeling again. Just a drop on the lips and we're more than equipped. There is some thirst that gotta be quenched. Yeah, all we want is to feel that feeling again. We didn't reach it high, it was always inside. We just coaxed it from the place it would hide. We move in fear, we move in desire. Now I know how you feel. I'm a pilgrim and you're the shrine to all the lovers that loved before us and breathed in this ether. Where the body goes, the mind will follow soon after. 'Cause all we want is to know the vivid moment. Yeah, how we feel now is felt by the ancients. Yeah, all we want is to know the vivid moment. Just surrender your limbs to my every whim. Now we're lovers.
A lot of these projects, although I'm working with a big team, I also am really hands-on. So that Wild Beast video, I did all the hand-drawn animation myself. I edited it, I did all the compositing in After Effects, I do all the grading. Because I'm really addicted to work, which you might be able to tell. But yeah, Studio Moross is a challenge for me because how do you be a friend to your colleagues, but also a boss? And I've had to find my own middle point between these two places, respecting my staff for who they are as individuals and who they are as employees. And it's not, as some people think, a studio of me. I didn't make this. A member of staff made it for me. Lots of people I get really annoyed when people refer to my studio as Kate Moross Studio, because it's not what we are. It's very hard when your name is on the door, because really we're just a group of individuals who work together, and some of my employees have their own projects that they manage internally in the studio and talk about to the media, and they really enjoy their ownership of their work. I really enjoy my dog with my face on it also. So yeah, I have these two as well. And if you don't put your dog photo in, especially when it's an internet sensation, people get disappointed. So there you go. This is Taco and Ebby. Sometimes Taco comes to conferences with me and does tricks on stage, but I couldn't get her to South Africa. Another thing that I've had to go through recently, which has also meant why I've had such a bad year, is that some of my very, very nearest and dearest members of staff have left the studio. And I don't think this is really something that your peers talk about, is how hard it is for people who've come in to work as a family, and how hard it is when they leave. For everyone, not just for me, for them, and for my other family members. But this is a phrase I sort of came up with to make them feel that even though they've chosen to leave, that the door is never closed. And whenever we have a reunion drinks or someone's leaving, everyone comes back together and has an amazing time. And it's really the most amazing feeling to know that those people are still there in your lives. Because we really are a bunch of weirdos and freaks. And we recently went to Disneyland together. This is our regular burger day, sitting in the garden. We have a garden at the studio. And we just really, it's so important for me to enjoy going to work every morning, and it's so important for me that my staff have the same feeling. And also, there's just so much power in working as a team, how much more you can create than you can do by yourself, and that's really all I wanted to achieve when I started a studio. It was not a big me exercise, it was actually less, and it was more to do with team and a family, and just how much fun we can have together, and what cool things that we can do together as a group. And they send me these flowers. This is my kind of flowers. They send me these balloons when I broke my hand, and some ramen, which is really sweet. So this is just a mini micro edit of all of the projects we did in about 4 years. It's now our 5th anniversary this April, but I'll just play it back, give you an idea of some of the things we worked on.
Drag me.
So, oh, you don't need to clap, it's a waste of time. 2014, I was asked by One Direction to come and see a show in Houston. So I flew to Houston, and I watched a show being performed in front of 70,000 young humans. And I really had a great time, actually. And I went on to kind of basically work with the band on a big project, which was their world tour. Lee Lodge, who is a legend, is kind of an exec producer, creative director, a million job titles as well. He kind of invited me to come and collaborate with him and reworking their tour. So we kind of designed this huge fascia. The black areas are the screen and the white areas are the border. We got some renders done of it, and this is kind of the stage that the boys perform on. It's very large. I mean, I'll give you a sense of scale in a minute, but this is the thrust. The tour was called On the Road Again, so we made a road. I'm quite a literal designer. I don't really have big ideas, I just have lots of little ones that fill the same amount of time. So we also did the posters and the branding, and this is me in Sydney on the first day of the show when half the stage arrived from America and half the stage arrived from Great Britain, and they lined them up, and the paint was wrong. So I had to paint the stage in the dark at night on my own with a lamp. The glamour is just too much. And Niall from the band came walking through. He was like, "Hey, Kate, do you need a hand?" And I was like, "No, it's all right, I'm fine." But I had a great time. It was amazing to see something from basically Illustrator 30 meters wide. This is it at night, lit up. We got to do some of the live visuals that were on the screens. Yeah. You can't really capture this, and it can't really capture the experience in a video unless you have like a multi-million-dollar budget to do a live tour video, which they didn't this time. So I don't have any really great documentation. This was taken on my phone, but it's a good picture. Yeah, I got to do the merch, and it was just amazing to see a fandom react to your work. Moving on to slightly cooler project, but disclosure. I was thinking, like, do I talk about One Direction? But everyone wants to know, and I'm so proud of the work, and I don't give a shit if people think they're lame. This is some work. We were just kind of developing projects with Disclosure, and I worked with this phenomenal animator called Russ. His goes by Rough Mercy. I don't know if you guys know his work. He's a legend. We collaborated on this film together with Mary J. Blige. She's a legend. And I'll just play you a short bit.
I've been infected with restless whispers and cheats that manifested in words and the lies that you speak. I've been infected with restless whispers and cheats that manifested in words and the lies that you speak. I've been infected with restless whispers and cheats that manifested in words and the lies that you speak. I've been infected with restless whispers and cheats that manifested in words and the lies that you speak. Because I play the fool for you. 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 Because I
your love is so beautiful, and I'll play the fool.
So I've been developing this relationship with Disclosure for a good few years now. We've got to work on some really exciting campaigns, and that also involves all their collaborators and their live show, which for me is really like I call it my opus, because it was an opportunity to kind of really do something I wanted. The show is like a 15-song set. And I got to work very closely with Will Potts, who's the lighting designer, and develop a show where the visuals and the lighting really complement each other, whereas usually they're having a fucking fight backstage. As anyone here who works in live music will know very well. So I'm just going to show you a bit of the live show, documented and ripped offline illegally from American Express and Apple Music.
If we're falling in love, we're falling in love. There'll be nothing above. And I won't give you up.
Oh, dancing past the point of no return. Let go, we can free ourselves of all we've learned. I love this secret.
My shadow doesn't show in the dark. The nighttime is inclined to my heart. My mind was blown apart. I didn't pay attention to the light in the dark.
When a fire starts to burn, right, and it starts to spread, you're gonna bring that attitude home. You don't wanna do nothing with your life. When a fire starts to burn,
Eyes on the hourglass as we sink into despair. You and me, gonna be everything you ever dreamed.
So you can see we had some challenges. The boys stand on the left and the right of the stage, and often the featured vocalist isn't there. So we had to set up music video shoots with the vocalists and shoot them separately, and then work out cool ways of making them all fit into the show. It really was a huge challenge, but probably about 8 or 9 of us worked on the show, and it's finished, the tour now. So another project that I just worked on at the end of last year was the VMAs, the MTV Video Music Awards. They were in New York. This was some brand development that we did with the MTV team on the posters. And it really was a huge project for me. I mean, I got a visa, had to get a visa, that was new. I went to America, and the venue was Madison Square Garden, so that's like the #1 most expensive and most desirable venue of all time. So that was cool. And I got to be there for 2 weeks in pre-production. We worked on not only the show packaging, which is, I'll show you a little video in a second which sort of shows what show packaging looks like, but we worked on all of the content that you see on any LED surface. So you can see the scoreboard at the top, the hive, which is this big thing that looks like a hive, the floor, the stage, the tunnel, everything. All of those elements have visual video files that control the timing and the speed and the expression of that product, of that lighting product. So it was, again, an education. I'd not really done this before. I'm totally always winging it and other fly tales. I'm going to talk over this, so if it's too loud, guys, please turn it down. So, yeah. We do all this dramatic thing at the beginning that comes up. This is all us, like the big look. We do this thing in the corner. We do all the transitions. We get to like have our work behind people like Puff Daddy, Kanye, which is pretty epic, even though I never very close to them or have anything to do with them. We made these nomination films, which are like one of my favorite pieces of work. They were really hard, but really, really fun. We basically make the money from these sponsors who have those little banners that come up on the screen. But this is like a new industry for me. This is called broadcast design. It's a kind of another field that I'm experimenting in. We're working on a few more award shows this year with MTV. And I found a really good niche for myself because you have to be really organized. I'm not really organized in my personal life, but I am at work. So I found that I'm quite good at this kind of work. But yeah, my whole team who had worked on this project, I wanted them to see it. So they all flew out to New York with me, and we went to go and watch the show. And we went to a stall and I ordered like a hot dog and popcorn and a drink, and like was expecting to pay a fortune. But the entire venue is free for the whole night, whatever you want, all you can eat, all you can drink, which was mad. I didn't feel quite so guilty about being paid when I realized that. And I just wanted to end with one last project. I'll just show you a few minutes because I've got a kind of wrap up to do. But this is something I haven't really worked on that much. This is just a piece of work that my team have done themselves. And this is by Guy, who's in fact, now he's been in the studio the longest, coming up to 4 years he's worked in the studio. And this is his child, this is his baby. He did all the illustration. I'm kind of the executive producer. I kind of oversee the budgets and the money and help when there's problems. But generally, I left the team to this. I also broke my hand, so that helped me stay back. But this is inspired by, I'm pretty sure you're going to guess in about a second. Count the movie tropes. That was basically what we did. So I've now been afforded, now that I have a team of people, an opportunity to revisit being an illustrator and doing projects that I choose to do rather than ones I feel obliged to do. I've worked on some projects around LGBT, QI, etc. issues because it's something I'm more and more involved with as I get older and more woke, as they say. This is a project I did with Refinery 29. I had an installation in 29 rooms in New York last year where we built a rainbow and we gave away these free Love is Love posters. And that was just, I didn't even get to go, but the Instagram, it's basically designed for Instagram, so I got some good pictures. I'm working with some 3D artists. This is by Genu, who's a 3D artist. We kind of collaborated on this project. I like this guy. And some more painting, digital painting, something else I enjoy. And now that my hand doesn't work very well, it's more suitable to be even more expressionistic than I was before. So this was some illustrations for a hair magazine called Infringe. So I've got my studio. We have some core rules that we follow, which I wanted to share, because I'm not just here to talk about my work, but to spread good philosophies about practice in work and respect and ethics, because those are things I feel very strongly about. Also, some tricks to give you credit and gold stars with your clients. So we share work early. I'm not a dictator. I'm a collaborator with my clients, so I'm happy to share to them my ideas and be part of the decision-making process with them rather than make decisions on their behalf, which most people would say isn't really what a designer is, but I like to do things a bit differently. Hire people, not skills. I've hired people for their skills in the past, and it's not necessarily a good future for you or your business. Make sure you want to hang out with that person every day, because otherwise you are going to be hanging out with them every day and you're going to hate them. My brother taught me this quote, my brother is called Richard Moross. He is the creator of moo.com. I don't know if you guys have that yet, an essay. But he told me this, but it's actually from Richard Branson. It's better to have a hole in your team than an asshole. Which is fucking great advice. And there is an illustration. Create, don't copy. We have a rule that you cannot have visual references on your screens when you're working. If you want to reference something visual, you have to store it in your mind, unless you have a photographic memory, and then you can't work in my studio. Fire your clients if you really are having a bad time, they're also probably having a really bad time. And you should be the first person to walk away, like in a bad relationship. Yeah, right? Every job is connected. Be careful what bridges you burn. Because I pretty much only have the kind of clients I have today because of like 2 people I met in a nightclub like 10 years ago. So if I had been difficult or rude or any of those things to those 2 people, I would never be at Indaba. I'd never be in Cape Town, and I would be doing something else. Who knows? This is a really great quote from Ed Catmull, who's from co-creator of Pixar. Overplanners take longer to be wrong. And now I like affirming quotes because I'm like someone that rushes, as you can probably tell from my presentation. And I also am I work in a very reflex way. I don't really think about what I'm doing. I just do it and hope for the best. And then another thing that I always carry through my work is this sort of binary between, when I was growing up, I was always like a goody two-shoes. I was always trying to make the teacher happy, or, some of my friends that I may have met will recognize this trait in me. I like over-helping, like at a fault sometimes, but I'm also rebellious and I like to do things differently, so I kind of follow that little green band down the middle. Do some work for love, do some for money, do some for charity. A lot of people talk about the love and the money thing, but not the charity thing. I also think that's very important. Learn on the job. If you don't know how to do something, just look it up. It's pretty easy. Over-deliver. On time and with a smile, which is something that we say in the studio. Failure is cool. Like, messing up is great. Like, if you work in a team, you get to share your failures, which makes your team stronger. And just one, most important thing is not to be afraid, not to be scared, and just don't have fear of your own self-expression, of what you want to do in your life. Even if it's not a path that exists, you can create it for yourself. This quote's great. It's quite horrible also for people that do believe in inspiration, but I personally don't. But yeah, reward your clients, reward your friends, reward your colleagues. Tell them that they're doing a good job. Give them a hug. Send them a text if they work really hard while you are sitting in a conference having a great time, which I've been doing. And culture is whatever you want it to be. I hate art galleries. I don't read magazines, sorry, media. I like taking photographs of drinks. You'll recognize a few of these. I'd love to do a project with Boss if they're in the audience. And I love Disneyland because design is everywhere, and people can't believe that I go to Disneyland every year, but I do. So I have my Disney socks today, always representing. Because I find going on roller coasters very good at de-stressing me. And as you can see, being a jack of all trades is okay. You don't have to be an expert. You can be as weird as you want. And I've given everyone a badge, which has my favorite message on, which says, always deliver on time and with a smile. Thank you.